So, and he does it with a smile on his face. I'm excited to see, how much he grows during fall camp as we get to put the pads on and start hitting people.
This might be a silly question, so bear with me if you think it is. The Travis Kelce's, the George Kittles of the world in the NFL, has that changed the position, the way that it's utilized? I know you've got Antonio Gates and a bunch of guys in the past, but like when you go out and recruit kids, is it different what tight ends out of high school are expecting to come into college and do?
Yeah, I think the guys that truly play tight end in high school, there's a lot of tight ends that you recruit that don't actually play the position in high school. You know what I mean? They say that he's a tight end, but just because of his size, but he plays receiver, kind of like Mark Andrews did. But I think those guys really have changed the position. I think the people before them created those guys. Antonio Gates, Jason Witten, Gronkowski, you know what I mean? People like that created this, kind of like, Tiger did for golf. You know what I mean? Now Tiger's competing against all these people he created because he was so good. And so I think the position will continue to grow. And obviously, like I tell the recruits, man, I don't care if we're playing Kansas or the Dallas Cowboys, the best matchup on the field is going to be the tight end versus linebacker. So that's the way I look at it.
Joe Jon, you mentioned Austin and his excitement being back here, appreciating being back here. Away from football, what have you learned about him in your conversations since he has been back and the guy you've kind of got back here?
Man, he's really more the same as far as this guy works his butt off. He's at workouts and you know how hard Smitty's workouts are, but you go out there and he got a smile on his face and he's bringing everybody along, dragging everybody along with him. And so more than anything, I think he just appreciates being here, being back home, and he's excited to hopefully put on the show for the Sooner fans.
I'd be curious to know, Coach, is there a particular weight number that you want your guys playing at in season, or does it kind of depend on their specific frame? You got a ballpark at all? Or?
No, I don't have a ballpark, man. There's tight ends that are 225 pounds. There's tight ends that are 275 pounds, and they're all good. The biggest thing for me is what are we asking you to do? If we're asking you to be fast, don't get fat. You know what I mean? Don't put on too much weight. Always be able to run fast and be able to sustain that for an entire game, whatever that weight is. I want you as heavy as you can possibly be, but be able to run forever. I think that I learned that just from experience, man. Once I got to a certain weight, I could run fast, but I couldn't run fast for very long. I got tired really fast. And so, just finding that perfect medium to be able to play fast for a long time.
Brent spoke in the spring about, in this offseason, self-scouting with your guys. Obviously, there were things you wanted to change from a year ago, but you wanted to make sure they understood there were successes and that you guys were close in spots. How did you approach that with your group?
I think just the details of everything we're doing, man. Just trying to find ways on third downs, on red zone situations. How can we create that extra, inch or foot of space to make it a little bit easier throw for DG and then really just like situational football, even in the run game. Understanding like this is not a normal inside zone play. This is 3rd and 1 inside zone play. So things are going to change. And so just understanding the total game, the big picture of what's going on. Why are we calling this play in this situation instead of just seeing a play and running it? And so I think just that will help us just as far as slowing the game down for our guys and understanding the why behind everything we do. And that goes into, it's your second year in the offense, so now it's a little bit easier to think situationally because you're not trying to understand what this play is. It's my first year. It's the first time I've ever seen this play. Why are we doing this? What do I do instead of why are we doing this and how should I do it?
I imagine when we hear Brent talk about efficiency, all those details, all that stuff is a huge part of it.
Absolutely. That's what creates efficiency, man. Just understanding why and understanding how to get open just a little bit more to make it that much easier of a throw. It doesn't have to be a perfect throw. It could be a foot off if I got foot more separation.
Are you able at all to quantify what Braden Willis's development over the last few years and into the NFL? what that means to recruits when you go and talk to them and you show him, you hold him up and say, this is what we do with tight ends here, kind of thing?
Absolutely. I think it's big time because you can sit down, and I can go back through the years, right? Like Braden Willis is the last example of, I can go through and show a recruit, we did all of this with one guy, in our offense last year. I don't have to say, well, we can do this. This is what I did in 2013. This is what I did in 15. Like, we have all these options, but I can sit down and show Braden Willis for 12 straight games and everything we did and every way in which we used him. And it's clear, it's a picture of this guy does everything. And that's what, if you want to be an NFL tight end, you have to be able to do it all. And so I think that's a big time tool for us.
I was going to follow up. Do you find high school tight ends want to just catch 80 passes and score 10 touchdowns, or do you find that they want to get involved in end line blocking and slot receivering and all that good stuff?
I find it all. You know what I mean?
They like it all?
There's guys that absolutely just want to catch passes.
Oh, I see.
There's guys that absolutely want to be, George Kittle that does it all. You know what I mean? And so just like any position, you find the same thing in receivers. Guys that love to block and get after people, and that's part of their game. And some of them they just want to run real fast and catch touchdowns. And so just trying at this position, you got to find the guy that's got the right mentality. You're going to put his hand in the dirt to do the dirty work, and then all the rest of it will come to you.
Who was the best blocking receiver you ever played with here?
Here?
Here.
Probably Joaquin Iglesias.
I was going to say Joaquin Iglesias. Yeah.
He gets after that whole group though. You watch that group: Malcolm Kelly, Manny Johnson. They took pride in it. It was an attitude. It was a culture in that receiver room. Like, we're gonna do this, but we're gonna catch touchdowns too. But that was a non-negotiable to get on the field because you had so many good players. If you weren't gonna do that, you weren't gonna play. And so it was that was a fun group.
What about in the NFL?
Oh man.
Probably all could. Most of them.
Yeah, there's like Calvin Johnson could do it just because he was so much bigger and stronger than everybody else. He was like a skinny tight end, you know what I mean? But he's like Adrian Peterson, one of the freakiest guys I've ever been around in my life. Like, I got a list of about 3 or 4. It's like, God, I wish I could have that kind of talent. But I would say Calvin.
Did DeMarco leap over you, hurdle over you for a touchdown?
That's right. I just got in his way more than anything. He had to overcome my blocking instead of. But it was fun to block for that guy, and he's got that mentality, like you talk about, like tight ends that love to do the dirty work. That's what DeMarco Murray is, and that's what made him great. He was trying to punish you every single play, and then the big plays just came because people got out of his way.
Coach, apologies if you've been asked about him already, but I'm real curious. You brought in Ham Fay, the transfer from Michigan State, as a walk-on. What has he brought to the room?
Man, like I said, I'm a little biased. He's a former quarterback, and so he's easy to coach. When it comes to concepts and route concepts, most of the time when you're dealing with the first-year guy, he's trying to figure out what his route is. But him being a quarterback, he wants to know the entire concept and being able to play, 1 through 5 if you're an empty. And so, unbelievable mentality, man. He's worked his butt off with Smitty. Most of the time, when you come in with Smitty, that first year is pretty tough. Man, he's absolutely killed it. And so, when you have that mentality and the size that he has with the athletic ability, you're going to be fine. He's going to be a damn good football player, and can't wait to see how much he grows in this next month.